While modern farms depend on a steady stream of store-bought feed bags, supplements, and pre-mixed rations, the Amish continue to raise thriving livestock without any of it. No commercial feed stores, no delivery trucks, no processed grain formulas. Instead, they use a deeply rooted system of self-reliance, land-based nutrition, and seasonal planning that has kept their animals strong and productive for generations. Feeding animals without the feed store isn't about cutting corners, it's about cutting dependency. The Amish understand that when you rely on manufactured feed, you're also tied to price fluctuations, supply chains, and outside control. Instead, they feed their animals with what their farms naturally provide: pasture, garden surplus, grain they grow themselves, and clever waste cycling that turns scraps into nourishment. The foundation of their system is rotational grazing. Amish farmers raise cows, horses, goats, sheep, and poultry on divided sections of pasture that are moved regularly. By rotating animals between paddocks, the grass is allowed to regrow, parasites are reduced, and the animals always have access to fresh forage. This practice is not just healthier for the land, it significantly cuts down the need for supplemental feed, especially in spring and summer. In winter, the Amish prepare by cutting and storing their own hay and fodder crops, such as alfalfa, clover, oats, and barley. These crops are grown on their own land, harvested by hand or horse-drawn equipment, and stored in barns or silos for winter feeding. By growing their own roughage, they avoid the need for costly hay purchases or dependency on feed dealers during harsh months. Kitchen and garden scraps are also a major food source. Chickens are given leftover bread, cornmeal, fruit peels, and vegetable trimmings, while pigs receive more fibrous waste like potato skins, milk whey, and overripe produce. Nothing goes to waste. Amish families design their meals and harvests with this cycle in mind, knowing that every scrap has a second life as animal feed. Amish children often participate in this cycle, collecting scraps, soaking grains, and tossing weeds or pest-eaten produce to poultry and goats. It's a routine woven into daily life. Feeding animals isn't a chore that begins with a trip to the store. It begins with breakfast, continues in the garden, and finishes in the barn. Feeding cows and goats without commercial feed. In the Amish world, cows and goats are more than livestock. They're vital members of the household. They provide milk, cream, butter, cheese, and even a source of income through raw milk sales or bartering. But what's truly remarkable is how well these animals are fed without a single bag of commercial feed. The Amish rely on a carefully structured cycle of pasture, hay, forage crops, and kitchen byproducts to keep their cows and goats healthy year-round. The core of their feeding system is rotational pasture grazing. Cows and goats are rotated between fenced fields, typically divided into 4 to 6 sections, to prevent overgrazing and to allow the grass time to regrow. Each paddock is given rest before animals return. This creates a continuous source of fresh, nutrient-rich forage, which results in better milk quality, stronger immune systems, and less dependence on outside inputs. By moving animals frequently, the Amish also break parasite life cycles naturally, reducing the need for chemical treatments. Goats, being natural browsers, are also fed tree cuttings and brush, particularly from willow, mulberry, and poplar trees, an old but effective trick that provides minerals and chewing satisfaction. Milk goats, in particular, benefit from daily foraging in open spaces. Amish children often lead them out to graze for an hour or two, allowing them to munch on fresh grass, clover, and wild plants. At night, they're brought back into simple stalls lined with straw, where leftover bread, peelings, and vegetable scraps are given as a treat. Minerals are provided naturally whenever possible. Amish farmers recognize when a cow is underfed, when a goat needs more fiber, and when it's time to rotate the pasture, all through instinct and daily interaction, not data sheets or vet prescriptions. How the Amish feed chickens and pigs without grain bags. Amish farms are rarely silent. Morning sounds often include the clucking of hens and the low grunts of pigs rooting in the soil. Yet behind these everyday noises is a feeding system that's astonishingly effective and entirely off-grid. Chickens and pigs are among the most flexible animals to feed, and the Amish take full advantage of that flexibility by relying on scraps, foraging, homegrown grains, and farm byproducts, never store-bought feed sacks. Chickens are natural foragers, and the Amish allow them to roam freely over yards, gardens, and pastures where they scratch for bugs, seeds, grass, and even small lizards or frogs. This diet of insects and greens provides ample protein and keeps them active, healthy, and laying strong-shelled eggs. To supplement this, families toss out kitchen scraps. Everything from old bread and biscuit crumbs to mashed potatoes, carrot peels, and fruit cores. Nothing is wasted. The chickens turn table leftovers into protein-rich eggs and eventually meat. Amish women often keep a dedicated scrap pail beside the wood stove or sink. At the end of each day, this pail is taken to the chicken coop or yard and emptied into a shallow trough. Some families even soak stale bread or cornmeal in whey, leftover milk, or water, creating a mushy mash that's both hydrating and satisfying for the birds. When available, Amish farmers will also grow small patches of grains like oats, wheat, or cracked corn, drying and storing them in bushel baskets for winter feeding. But these grains are never the sole diet. They are offered sparingly, mixed with scraps or scratch feed made on the farm, and usually reserved for colder months when free-ranging insects are scarce. Eggshells and wood ash are dried and crushed into a powder and sprinkled over feed to provide natural calcium and grit, which help hens produce stronger eggshells and aid in digestion. Pigs, being omnivores, thrive on a broader diet. Amish families feed pigs a daily mix of cooked kitchen waste, peelings, whey from cheese-making, garden scraps, windfall fruit, and excess milk. Especially during summer and fall, pigs are turned out into orchards or garden plots where they clean up overripe fruit, corn stalks, old squash vines, and whatever bugs they can root up. Their natural rooting behavior improves soil, breaks up weed roots, and simultaneously fills their bellies, a win-win system. During butchering season, pigs are also given organ meats, blood pudding leftovers, and bone scraps boiled into mash. This old-fashioned practice ensures nothing from a slaughtered animal goes to waste, while providing the pigs with nutrient-dense food. In winter, pigs are fed fermented feed, like soaked grains or turnip mash, which adds warmth and improves gut health. Amish families often raise pigs near the edge of the property, close to compost piles and garden waste bins, where they help consume vast amounts of organic matter. These pigs aren't just livestock, they're living recyclers, turning waste into meat without the need for grain-based pellets or veterinary supplements. Feeding horses and handling shortages without store-bought feed. Among the most iconic images of Amish life are their draft horses, the powerful animals that pull plows, wagons, and carriages across fields and towns. These horses are not ornamental, they're essential. And yet, despite their size and workload, they are cared for and fed without a single trip to a feed store. The Amish have developed a system of field-grown feed, thoughtful work pacing, and seasonal planning that keeps these animals strong and healthy through every season. The diet of a workhorse begins in the pasture. In spring, summer, and early fall, horses graze freely on rotational paddocks planted with grass mixes tailored for stamina, typically a blend of timothy, orchard grass, clover, and alfalfa. These are high-fiber, nutrient-rich grasses that build muscle and provide sustained energy. Pastures are rotated frequently to allow regrowth and prevent overgrazing, with animals moved from section to section based on the rhythm of the land. During harvest and heavy work seasons, horses are supplemented with hand-mixed grain rations, often a blend of oats, corn, and barley, all grown and ground by the family. The grain is given in moderation, often soaked in warm water or mixed with molasses to increase energy before long work days. Unlike commercial feed, which often comes with additives and fillers, this grain is pure, clean, and custom portioned for each horse's condition and workload. Amish farmers take great care in curing and storing hay properly, as moisture can spoil a season's supply. Horses are given free-choice hay in the colder months, supplemented with warm bran mash or grain only as needed. They are not overfed, and because they are kept active year-round, they maintain muscle and health through daily chores and careful pacing. Water is kept clean and accessible in large troughs or drawn from spring-fed wells. In times of shortage, like droughts, bad harvest years, or illness, Amish farmers never panic or overreact. They rely on the community. Hay is bartered between neighbors. Extra grain is shared in good faith, often returned the next year. In severe shortages, they reduce workloads, rotate animals more often, or substitute with mules or oxen who can handle different feed types. They also plant emergency crops, like fast-growing oats or turnips, that can be used to bridge feed gaps. Above all, Amish horse care is about observation and respect. Farmers watch for changes in coat, gait, and energy level, adjusting feed accordingly. No computers, no vet prescriptions, just generations of knowledge passed down, stable to stable, hand to hand.